share your experience, and also submit your questions for Kim. Watch United Network at home or on the go through your computer, favorite online streaming program, or mobile apps.
Welcome to United Network News.
Start your free trial today. UnitedNetwork.Earth, bringing people together.
And now the World Situation Report with Kimberly Gogan from the Office of the Guardian. The remnants of the alternative timeline universes are falling away, and New Earth reveals itself. The deep state was hoping for a big win over the weekend due to the new moon and the equinox approaching. And we will discuss the impact of wisdom on humanity.
Now here's Kimberly Gogan with the Office of the Guardian. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Sunny.
Hi. Welcome. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday and happy, second day of the new moon.
Oh, is it? I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, I know. Well, you haven't noticed, but, the deep state is forever hopeful.
Yes,
of course.
Yes.
And I guess to some degree, I can understand what they were looking for. Mm-hmm. But again, knowledge doesn't overcome wisdom.
Right.
In this particular case. And they're still running on old knowledge. And the fact that, if something changes, it's like reading the bus schedule from 1975 or something. The bus hasn't come on that route in forever, but they still have the old schedule and they're ever hopeful the bus is going to arrive, I guess, in their favor. So it was a little crazy over the weekend, not going to lie. Yesterday was pretty rough. I mean, even energetic wise, it was a little bit rough, very heavy on Saturday and Sunday. And, this was due to them trying to gain some access, I think, to an alternative timeline. I'm not really entirely sure. I listened to their meetings. I listened to what they discussed. There were some old retired group that came in on Saturday to advise them from a group called SHIELD, very similar to the Marvel Comics folks, but not quite. There's actually a group called SHIELD. And They were old generals, and they asked for Langley 5, the global headquarters, and a few other groups, Silent Circle, were all asking for their advice on what they should do to prepare for allegedly something that was going to happen on the new moon, according to their books, apparently. And they gave them old access codes that they used to have when they were working. Of course, none of them worked. They tried them. It's not just about gaining access to computers, but it's also control of things like weather manipulation and energy and essence and, knowledge and wisdom and a lot of different things they were looking for. They were forever hopeful. Now, to be fair, as it's not exactly a timing thing, so it wasn't exactly a day, predetermined day that this would actually take place. It was just a matter of, I guess you would say, one event after the next event after the next event occurring, and then therefore the next thing that would occur would be the removal of any holographic timeline overlays. So this was taking place this weekend, still is taking place today, as all the remnants of the holographic timelines fade away. So it's kind of like if you look at the universe like a house of mirrors at a fair, you see yourself standing in the middle, and then you see multiple reflections of yourself throughout the mirrors.
Yeah.
And of course, there's only one you, and there's only one multiverse.
Right.
But you're seeing a hologram, essentially, which could have a long time ago or a while ago, a few years ago, could have been affected. If you affected one of the holograms as an example, it would have affected the reality. So it's not quite a mirror per se. It's an actual functional division of oneself, for lack of a better term. So I would say that that could be what they were looking for. Perhaps they thought that they had not lost the war, which we have already won. Sources already won. So, and due to the fact that the light won, I guess they were hopeful that the dark could still win, and that we would merge all these universes of timelines into a dark timeline forever. Perhaps is what they were hoping for or waiting for, but that didn't happen. So that's leaving some people upset. They were pretty upset yesterday, last night, and this morning, that things appeared to be going in the other direction. I know everybody this morning is looking for their money, Federal Reserve and Treasury, and of course they're always promised money after a new moon, and nothing happened there. Now the other thing that they have been trying to do is prepare for a financial crash. By prepare, I mean trying to find any access they can to the financial system in order to crash it. Due to their unexpected wealth they were expecting today, I guess, they would have then crashed the markets and then reverted everything over to their cursed currency, and we would have been in a perpetual state of evil for all eternity. But all of these things, of course, didn't happen this weekend. Now, as far as a financial catastrophe and an expectation of that, the answer to the question is no. It's a rumor going around everywhere. I do not see a catastrophe for humans walking the earth. I see a catastrophe for banks with no access to your funds. I see a catastrophe for governments that is not avoidable at this point. I see a catastrophe for the global headquarters and all of their 5 sectors. I see a catastrophe for the Order of the Black Sun, the Order of the Dragon, and probably eventually all of their corporations that are under their umbrella, due to their refusal to see life any other way than some old knowledge that doesn't exist. There's nothing we can do at this point. It was a hope that we would be able to keep governments for a while. How long are they going to limp along? I don't know. I know that there are a lot of people telling them, just wait, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Eventually they'll run out of things that could potentially come. Fake bonds on screens, fake accounts. There's nothing, I guess they want to live in a fantasy like any good narcissist does, So I don't know what the next date is that they're going to give everybody after today. I assume.
Kim, I was just going to say, with these groups that are kind of holding out and not wanting change, I'm assuming there are still people within those groups, like the Treasury and places like that do want to move forward. Or their hands are just tied because the people above them are making the call and they can't do anything about it?
Well, it's like the global headquarters, that we've discussed.
Yeah.
We were kind of hopeful to see what they would do because now the ball was in their court, as far as going down the food chain further and further and further. And these are the people that guide, or for as many of them that are still listening, the operatives and in all 5 sectors, meaning the political sector, financial sector, intelligence, and military and media. After listening into the meetings that they had over the weekend and watching them make all the attempts that they made based on phone calls that I had where I gave a certain amount of information to see what they would do. And a lot of that information is stuff that I had put out on the news in the past. And some of it I didn't, just because it's not relevant uh, and it would get quite boring for me to rattle off location after location after location of different things we've cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
And just to see what they were going to do with this information. And like clockwork, they went to all these locations trying to get their special badge and, their level 9 Omega badge, so to speak, that would give them black screen access is what they were looking for. And of course, nothing happened. Just like I said, nothing would happen, but nothing happened. And it appears they're still looking for more information. They tried to call me yesterday. I'm too busy. I was way too busy yesterday, and let them know I'd be washing my hair today. So also busy. And there's just no reason to give them any further information. There's no reason to have those phone calls. And the person that is being forced to call me is under tremendous pressure to call me. And I know that. So I just prefer to say, look, I've got nothing else to say. I've said all I'm going to say to those people. Mm-hmm. I think that there is probably a 0.0000001% chance of them, turning around. Therefore, you're probably going to see a steep decline in the political sectors. You're going to see a steep decline in the banking, back office of the banks, so to speak, mm-hmm. their income. I don't think they're ever going to become your service provider. So we're going to have to probably figure out a way to distribute money electronically and then eventually print our own. Maybe we'll make Sunny Bucks. I mean, if they've got Trump bucks, I can make Sunny Bucks.
I don't want to have anything to do with anything Trump has ever done. Just for the record.
Yeah.
You can have humanity bucks or something like that. I don't know.
Have vanity bucks? I know. Green bucks.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Whatever. So,
well, I don't know. It's like, I know it's frustrating. And I know that we wanted to move this along faster. But, I also see the other side of it. And there is a lot of value, I feel, in doing this from scratch. I mean, I don't know. Like part of me, just like, a lot of you guys watching is like, can we trust them? I don't know. They've done a lot of bad stuff. Sometimes you just need to clear the slate. I kind of feel like that's what this is. This is just us. We're just going to do it our own way. Sorry, guys. If you see the light later on, give us a call. But no, we're not taking you on as groups. If as an individual, if you want to make changes, then, but it's
and their version of clear the slate obviously is a depopulation situation. Our version of clear the slate is also a depopulation situation that would arise. It's just a different kind of depopulation. We're not looking at the average everyday human as a threat.
No.
We're looking at them as a threat to the average everyday human. Yeah. So how many more layers do we have to go down and give people an opportunity to make a change and do something different? Mm-hmm. How many layers? I don't know. Do we have to give them a chance anymore? I mean, pretty much they've all no one has completely come forward with honor and integrity. Mm-hmm. They've all dipped their, foot in the water to see what they could steal from us. Right. I've seen that happen a lot, and steal from others. Mm-hmm. So I don't really see any hope. I don't see any funding for governments ever. I don't see any thoughts that we're going to repair political sectors, military sectors at all at this point. Mm-hmm. Intelligence sectors. So I'm just kind of taking it out of the equation, and just like we stopped reporting on governments, I'm pretty much kind of done talking about what the deep state is doing constantly. If you want us to keep informing you, that's fine. We can do that. I can give you a blow by blow of everything they do every day to try to prevent humanity from moving forward. but it's very old programming, and it goes back more than, as far as humans on Earth are concerned, this goes back about 1.5 million years. I mean, it's been some time, in as far as Earth years are concerned. Some things did come to light in that realm as far as just how powerful humans are and why they're used a lot throughout the multiverse in different ways. So the human original DNA blueprint allowed the human being to possess the ultimate divine, so source.
Mm-hmm.
It also allowed you to, based on your vessel structure and you were able to contain that type of ultra pure energy and ultra pure essence. On the other side, you could have also chosen to contain the dark divine. So this is human beings. Now, for the most part, we have retained a connection, and some more than others, to the divine on the human being as far as humans on Earth are concerned. Now, the reason why that was permitted to some degree is because they need your energy.
Right.
They need your essence. They need who you are to make them who they are and to create things out of darkness. Now, they've tried genetically modifying us over and over and over again so that we couldn't connect to the divine, or had only a limited amount to ensure your survival of being so you could be a good battery here on Earth.
Right.
So if you imagine the genetic modification, not only of your human, but all of the planes of existence within your human, to prevent you from receiving the energy, the wisdom, and all of these types of things, then could you reach maybe the astral plane? Astral project, those types of things, well, maybe, they were trying to make sure you just never got to 9. In other words, on either side, to the highest realm of the multiverse, source and anti-source. But when it came to the family side, those humans were genetically modified in a different way, had access to, let's just say, more technologies than we do, and they were allowed to be genetically modified if they were willing to accept a covenant with Lucifer or anti-source. Once that was done, they would then receive the ultimate dark divine, meaning anti-source. So is there any coming back from that? Well, I don't know. Are they still anchoring the darkness here? No. Have they lost their connection to the anti-source? Yes. Is this making them go a little crazy? Yes, it is. And we're starting to see some very odd behaviors from these humans. We're starting to see a lot of people die. There are rumors going around right now that Kate Middleton passed away.
Remember when I said that before? I'm like, they're bringing her up a lot in these health conditions. We've talked about that a little bit, and then Chucky too.
Yep, there are rumors going around that they are not with us anymore. But then again, high-profile political figures usually die in December, so we don't know how long the game is going to go on. I think they're still waiting to see what happens on the summer solstice or the birthday of William. We'll see, which is going to be nothing. And this is why I tell you, the reconnection back to source in many different ways, be it wisdom, energy, essence, consciousness, it's ever increasing now as we remove those filters that were put in place by the dark side. Mm-hmm. You don't really realize how powerful you are as a being throughout the multiverse. Now, with great power comes great responsibility too. There are more of us than there are of them. And one thing I have seen going on over the weekend is most of us are excited about receiving the wisdom. We're happy about that. We're thankful for the connection to source. We're thankful for infinite wisdom to do things that you would have never thought in a million years that you could do. Mm-hmm. You could literally sit down in a plane and figure out how to fly it. Mm-hmm. That could be anything from a spacecraft to a fighter jet to you name it. You could if you wanted to. Sure. If you just sat there and listened, the wisdom will tell you exactly what everything does and how to work it and how to fly it safely and, where you need to be, what altitude, what speeds. You'll know it all. Mm-hmm. I've tested some of this stuff myself. It does work. But on the flip side, we have a lot of people in this world that have full cups. They wake up every day and their cup is full. And even though they're receiving the wisdom, they're receiving the intuition, their ego does not permit them to listen. Because they're going to even tell source, no, the world works this way. No, I am this person. And this is kind of why I had the narcissist discussion with you last week, because, you're still going to see a lot of those people that even though everything in their intuitive self tells them that this is not correct, that this is correct, don't go there, they still do it anyway, because they're going to say, I am this person. Their ego is telling them that that's who they are. They're living in a narcissist fantasy world. And even God isn't going to tell them that they're wrong. So you certainly aren't going to. Mm-hmm. There's also people that are going a little crazy right now because they're having to see, maybe they do have a little bit of a connection with the Creator. So they're kind of aware of intuition and how it works. And they're starting to see things that are not acceptable to them, because they've built up in their world that the reason why I am not successful, as an example, this is something a human would say to themselves, mm-hmm. is because the government won't let me be, because the IRS still exists, because there's chemtrails in the air, because there's all of these things. Therefore, that is the reason why I am not successful in my career. So, as an example, this mm-hmm. is something a human would say to themselves. Mm-hmm. And the divine is telling them, oh, no, that has nothing to do with it. You're just lazy. Mm-hmm. Get up and do this, do that, do this. And now you're choosing to ignore those things because you prefer to live in narcissistic victimhood. So what's going to happen when you don't have anybody to blame anymore? Not you personally, or even anybody really watching this, but these people. Everybody knows one of these people in their life. They have accepted that they have received knowledge from the internet, a book, a priest, a rabbi, or whomever, and that is a fact. And there's no room in my cup for any additional information, including wisdom directly from source. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see a lot of these people have a really hard time with themselves. Is there something we can do to help those people? I don't know. Can we help somebody empty their cup just a little bit? I don't know. Is there a way to educate people? And these are for people that are watching this that are in adult education. Educating our kids, as part of care, educating our kids is important. Yeah. Educating our adults right now is more important, because who is going to educate our children? Mm-hmm. the wisdom of people that have walked this earth for 70 years or 80 years or even longer is invaluable, because people see these people, whether they want to or not, even as much as society has tried to condition it out of us, you're looking at these people as someone who knows something. So maybe this is a job for the older folks that said they don't know where their place is in New Earth. Well,
it's also tough for those older groups too, sometimes, not always. And I'm sure for our audience, it's a different situation. But sometimes when you've gone through life and you've believed one thing for so long, I know that's when I talk to people, that's what I struggle with. If someone believed something for so long and had practiced whatever XYZ was for so long, it's hard to change that mindset, and to think that your whole life, something that you thought was true isn't true, and all the decisions you're making now are being based on false information. That's a very hard realization, So sometimes it can be tougher for people that have been around longer.
Yeah. I mean, that's true to some degree. And I think there are certain things for people, even younger folks, that are difficult to grasp. Say, for example, if this was 10 years ago or 20 years ago, we didn't know about certain, or at least I can say I didn't know, just how bad certain types of healthcare could be for my child.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I distinctly remember, because I didn't know at the time, when she was entering into first grade and she was sitting on my lap and there's 10 needles or whatever the heck that was, all at the same time in the same arm in the same place. And I probably cried more than she did, but I didn't know what I was doing was harmful. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So now, we have information on how to fix that, and remove those types of things from the system. And that's what we've done. But, I must have known more, that my intuition must have been telling me more at that time, because I was so upset. I was so upset that day. And maybe there was a part of me that wanted to just get up and walk away. And I probably should have.
I can tell you one experience that I had with one of my daughters is it was like a flu vaccine or something like that we were going to give her, and she took off running. So I know she knew, and this is my daughter that's very intuitive and connected spiritually. She went off running. I had to chase her down it wasn't really a hospital, but a bunch of doctors off, multi-level, huge place. She knew. I know she knew. And she was so upset. But that's one of these things that, this is just one example for parents that we're just going to have to forgive ourselves, because you don't know what you don't know. Right. And, it's hard.
Well, exactly. And you don't. But, like you said, there are some things that we now look back at based on all we've learned that we've either done to ourselves, our family, our kids, certain foods we, had things, in this world. We, and as you learn, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I gave my child X. I would never want to hurt my child, and it's you got to be careful not to enter into the guilt and shame section.
Yes.
Because that's what they want from you. Yep. And they will try to use your wisdom against you for that reason, to bring you down, to get you to live in perpetual guilt and shame for things you may have not done anything about. So I can see that a lot of people are struggling with that right now. I've had a lot of conversations with people in the last few days about people having a difficult time, and then there's other aspects of this too, financial aspects of things. As an example, I I've talked to people that have been involved with the currency reset and with, what they believe is at the highest level in, the financial world. They have been chasing pallets of cash, chasing money, chasing this, and they've been doing it for like 15, 20 years, like a long time.
Wow.
This scam has been going on since March of 2007. That's a long time.
Yeah, it is.
And they have chased the dangling carrot, to use the words of Rothschild. They have been chasing the dangling carrot so long, they see it as their only way out of all their problems, all the money they've borrowed, all the homes they've mortgaged, all the, cars they've leveraged, like just everything and anything, chasing all around the world a dream.
Yeah.
All along, the higher ups knew it was never going to happen. They were never going to have this money. They would have never given it to them. They never gave it to them when they had access to all the money in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And why would you think they're going to change their mind now and all of a sudden do you better than they did you before? They're not. That's never going to happen. And this is where the wisdom is going to be tough, because they're going to get it too, providing they're not too dark, but they're still going to get the wisdom.
Yeah.
And they're just going to want to ignore it and keep going with their alleged books of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
They'll never stop. They're going to refuse the wisdom of source, even though every fiber of their being tells them they're going in the wrong direction. You're on the freeway, there's the 6 lanes all coming at you, and all the other cars are going toward you, and you're trying to head towards all the other cars. It's not going to end well.
No, that's dangerous.
That's very dangerous. It's not going to end well for you.
No.
And all the people you try to, you're going the wrong way. You're going into a headwind here, and you're not going to get anywhere. It's never going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Are they willing to empty their cup a little?
Well, maybe, and this is what I was going to say, is the more they see other people, like some people are just creatures of habit, and they really do want to move with a group. I've never really been that way. Probably most of us watching this have never been that way. We've always been little outcasts. But there are a lot of people in society that will adopt something once more people, once they feel like it's safe or whatever the mental process is they're going through. So I do think that could have a positive effect in emptying their cup, so to speak. But there's just too few people right now that are talking about it. It's still very fringe. Any of these ideas that we've been talking about are still very fringe.
Oh, absolutely. And it's only been a decade or so before you're even having alleged doctors on TV talk about things that are natural.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you're starting to see commercials now about supplements and other things for different things that ail you. I mean, you are starting to see some of that come out in mainstream news.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to change the world overnight? Are people going to listen? No, because there's 100 more commercials about, take this for your rash. It may cause sudden death, liver failure, heart attack, so on and so forth. And the list goes on, but you won't have a rash anymore.
Yeah.
Will the wisdom kick in and give them another idea? And will they think it's crazy?
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a friend of mine that's quite intuitive yesterday. And we were talking about inner wisdom, and knowing and that type of thing. And he said, how many people are going to actually listen? Because this person, is kind of a practitioner. He sees a lot of people and within what he does. And he said, well, how many people are going to listen to it? So like if you wake up one day and with the thought, if you eat more of this herb or that herb, or you take that herb and you mash it up and you put it on here or this wound or that, and it will go away. It's been bothering you now for months. It'll go away if you do it like this. How many people are going to think, oh my gosh, I'm not putting rosemary on my, leg or whatever? I mean, how many people are going to do that? How many people are going to look for something alternative, even when their intuition tells them, and I'm just not talking about medical stuff. I'm talking about in every respect. I understand, like Source said, start a news channel. I'm like, how the heck am I going to start a news channel? I mean, those people have millions of dollars. I mean, I barely have two, at the time. I'm like, how am I going to do this? And I guess it happened. When it's right, it's right. When your intuition tells you to do something, that's the one thing I can assure you of. And it's happened over and over and over to me, that there will be a way made. That means that pathway open for that business that you're thinking about because it came in through intuition, or, once you start walking down that path, the pathway opens. Or you can sit there with your full cup and think of all the reasons why you cannot do whatever your intuition tells you to do. The choice is yours. A lot of people, like you said, there's a majority of people, if it's something positive, they're seeing people have positive effects and positive lifestyles and positive changes, what they deem positive, spending more time with family, those types of things. I do believe the majority of people will see that as a positive and head in that direction, even if the media stays the same. Let's just say it stays the same, and the global headquarters decides to continue with their doom and gloom and we're all going to die plan, and pushing all the things that are unhealthy for us, foods and pharmaceuticals and things in the air and all of these types of things. But I don't see it having much of effect if we all come together and produce our own lifestyle products. What I mean by lifestyle, how are we going to get around? How are we going to, what are we going to put in our hair? What are we going to put on our skin to cleanse it? What are we going to do? How are we going to live every single aspect of your life without using any products produced by them? As long as we have a replacement for them all, we can do it. Wisdom will tell all of you what you need to do.
Yeah.
Maybe we're making biodegradable, better toothbrushes. I don't know. I don't know which aspect of things is your passion. But I can tell you it's going to happen, because I don't see any sign whatsoever of any of these people coming to any common sense decision, which leads me to believe that they're going to turn a corner or do something different. Because right now it looks like they're trying to manipulate me, trying to get information from me, trying to steal from me, trying to steal money when I take transfers. They're still trying. I'm not saying they're successful, but they're still trying. Trying to get me to fund this and fund that person, fund that government and fund those people and, those types of things, because I have and could do that. But I'd rather fund you. So I'm not really interested in playing the game where it's like, oh, okay, here we go again, just like the Trump administration. Speaking of that, there's also been a lot of chatter amongst the Trump lawyers that if he gets back whatever it is or who that is, gets back into office, that all the money will come just like it did last time. And I can assure you with 100% certainty that is a false thought process.
I mean, as much as I would cringe to see him get in office, or anyone that isn't physically breathing get into office. Maybe that's what needs to happen. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if these people think that Trump is the savior because one time he brought in some money that came from you, right? But obviously Trump wasn't going to give anyone credit for that. And he didn't use the funds for what he was supposed to use it for. Maybe they need to see this for themselves. I think some of these people are going to have to get a really hard lesson, and then maybe they'll make changes from there. But I mean, they all are still limited with funding. So at some point, the structure has to fall apart. I think that's also going to be the catalyst that helps people wake up. Because if they wake up one day and they don't really have a government, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like someone has to I was hoping maybe it would be COVID that woke more people up, and I know a lot of people did wake up through that, myself included. But maybe something like that needs to just be the thing that shakes them. Would you stop because you don't have a government anymore? So now what are you going to do? That kind of stuff could help, for sure.
As far as the people that are the government, and those are people you don't know, and those are people you don't see. The people that are the government have, and I'm sorry to say this, I'm going to say it, okay? There's no common sense. The ones that are trying to run it. Mm-hmm. And the people that are still listening to them now that they are released also have no common sense. Because if you've been released, you have the right to say no. And there are a lot of people who have said no. A lot of people that used to work in these sectors have said no. I don't want to hear it anymore. Call me when you got something, thank you. And they keep trying to rally all the troops together around some fanatical idea that never ends up panning out. And you can only do that so many times to certain people, and they're going to look at them and say no. Mm-hmm. As far as waking up these people through something, I'm not so sure.
Really?
Yeah. See, the percentage of people that woke up during the pandemic was higher than the normal rate of people waking up. Now, was that due to the pandemic, or was that due to the fact that their life slowed down quite a bit and people were out of work, say, and, they're home now, they're researching things on the internet, they're looking for information, they're trying to find out more. They had more time on their hands because there was no work. Is that possible? It's possible.
Yeah.
Or does it just happen to be the fact that we were getting closer and closer to a light age? Things were becoming clearer and clearer, and humans were waking up. But the one thing I can tell you with absolute certainty is it is not because of the Trump administration. If you didn't wake up to the fact that we went into, let's see, all of the positive things that happened. Millions of American businesses shut down during the Trump administration. Okay, millions. Millions of people lost their homes. Millions of people became homeless. This is just American citizens I'm just talking about right now, because we're talking about the alleged American president or the leader of the free world, right? Allegedly, the actor that plays the role. We went into lockdown. We walked around like idiots wearing masks on our face that made us sicker. Yeah. So if you weren't sick from what was going on in the world, then you got sick from that. You probably have, there's a huge increase in dental issues amongst people due to the mask wearing, because you're not supposed to re-inhale your own bacteria. There was an uptick in pneumonia and other serious things that were not related to the pandemic in any way. There was an uptick in a number of different things, illnesses and whatnot from bacterias and strep infections and staph infections on the face, also yeast infections on your skin. People weren't cleaning the masks well enough, that kind of thing, and they just kept throwing them back on. So there was so many bad things that happened to the lives of American citizens during that administration. I could go on for 2 hours right now, and nobody woke up. It didn't even wake up the Republican Party people, the voters. What is wrong with your head? What positive thing? Name one positive thing that this guy did. Can you name one, Sonny? What happened that was positive? We had mudslides in California due to fires. Remember that?
Yeah.
We had a hurricane where people are still homeless and living in trailers, and it's been years from Hurricane Michael. What did he do?
Well, he did prevent Hillary from getting in. That's the only thing that I could think of. I mean, whatever, they're on the same team, but still,
I know.
I think she would have been even worse. And obviously there were other plans under Hillary. So that's the only thing I can think of. They're both evil people. So,
I know. Yeah. What did you get? Well, I will say I have reconsidered ever using self-tanner again.
I would love to know what the purpose was behind that, because totally separate topic, but gosh, sometimes he just looks so orange, and it had to be, I mean, these people have people to help them look good. So I don't understand the comb over. I don't understand the orange face. It's just something it's like he's like a character out of a comic book or something. I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me.
Well, everybody's perception of what looks good is different.
Well, I guess so.
And since, your entire world exists in a group of fake friends and you've got money, they're not there because you look pretty, and neither is your wife, right? So she's there because she is actually an agent.
Yeah.
And he knows it too. She was gifted to him.
Yep.
Just like the other ones. Yep. But anyway, long story short is that if that didn't wake them up government wise and they're still thinking it was the greatest thing and they can't wait to get it back. Are you kidding me right now? That's like the spouse that goes back to the abusive spouse.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been beaten, you've been lied to, you've been cheated on, you've been stolen from, all these things happen when you're with this person. Why do you want to go back? So, no, I don't have any hope of a government crash getting these people awake. I don't. I don't.
Wishful thinking. I don't know.
I think something more along the lines of, of course they're going to continue with their crazy depopulation agenda and corrupting food sources and other things. And we have alternative food sources over here, different places that you can get it. It doesn't have all the stuff in it. People are going to start migrating to different ways for those reasons. Yeah. I think they're going to see that's how they're going to slowly change their lives. I don't think it's going to be common sense. I think it's going to be out of necessity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, if those corporations start going under, well, where am I going to get my Doritos from? Well, you can't have Doritos anymore. Sorry. And
no, but we can make some really cool, all natural,
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But out with the old, in with the new. If the other stuff's going to fall apart, we can start replacing it. And we've talked about even having soda, not the bad stuff that's on the market now, but there is a good way to make soda, could, actually make it beneficial for your body. Starting to replace those kinds of things, I think, is a way to do it too, where they're forced to make a decision because they don't have access to the other stuff anymore.
Well, yeah, exactly. Or they keep increasing the price of everything.
There you go.
That works to our advantage too, because we can make a liter of soda, which is not soda, but it has berries in it. It has antioxidants in it. It has all kinds of beneficial stuff in it that you would want to give to your kids.
Right.
There's all kinds of like monk fruit and things you can sweeten things with that taste just as sweet without the chemicals that you can make soda from. And maybe ours is cheaper. Maybe ours costs $1, a liter, and theirs is going to go up to $3, $4, or $5. I have no idea what soda costs these days. I don't look because I never drink soda ever. So, but I would say to you that there are cheaper ways to do this, where you can even grow a lot of the stuff, at your house and make it yourself. Or if you have a larger area, you can plant your own ginger and monk fruit and all that kind of stuff, and then you can make yourself some ginger ale or ginger beer or whatever it is you're looking for. But I mean, we have to be better.
Yeah.
These are all things to think about. How do you get the sleepy ones? If torture in every financial, physical, way did not wake up the American people, you're not going to wake them up if the government crashes.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, poor Trump.
Yeah.
Poor Trump. He got elected and then he couldn't get in. There was no office to get into.
That would be justice. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah, but still, they wouldn't. These people would be so upset. Their lives are now over.
Well, then I also go back to, you have to agree to this stuff. You have sold contracts before you come here. Do you know what I mean? So I'm kind of like, well, maybe that's what they need in the long run.
Yeah, they probably on other planets and stuff, they put up these wanted posters, like classified ads, wanted someone to play the role of the sleepy people.
Exactly.
Must have zero life skills.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, and we've talked about this in the New Earth about how the children being born today and even in the past, they're different. So maybe we just have to wait this thing out for some of those people, they're having babies, their kids are going to be different. Maybe it just has to phase out on some level. That's not the way I would prefer to do it. And we're on a separate path. But for those other people, I think we have to also trust that this is naturally going to happen because of the kids that are coming through now.
But I think what we're going to see too is an increase in an uptick in the percentage of your brain that people use.
Yes. Yeah.
So I had a conversation once with a deep state guy who basically said that he felt that people that were utilized public assistance in any way as worthless and useless eaters feeding on the rest of society, quote unquote. And he said that and he gave me some statistics, which God knows where this person got them from, and I'm not saying they're correct, but he basically said that typically these people have an IQ of under 100. Mm-hmm. And, they are doing this and they're doing that and all these types of things. And I said, well, that's your fault. And he said, how do you figure? And I said, well, let me see. You take a group of people, you decrease their brain capacity down to 10%. Mm-hmm. Then you feed those people even further, a lot of heavy metals and chemicals and all kinds of stuff and spraying this and doing that. And I said, what do you expect? So now you took their already 10% of their capacity of their entire IQ, right? Their mental capacity, decreased it down to 10% of whatever it originally was. And then you fed them stuff further to even decrease it even more. I'm like, you're lucky you don't have to hand out, Velcro shoes to these people. You're killing them.
It's true. Yeah.
They do the same thing to, let's just say, a lot of people that are in service, that are in the militaries. They do, they don't come back the same way they went in sometimes. And, it's got to end. The program has to end. There's a lot of work to do here, guys. I mean, I'm tired of watching these people. I really am. I'd rather watch you. I'd rather watch you on the news. I would rather watch you and your companies thrive. I would rather help and give you all the branding you need and packaging and what to say and how to make yourself successful and commercials and all kinds of different things where you can promote your products than talk for 5 minutes about these people. Yeah. I'd rather do commercials for all your products, if that's what you want to do. rather than promote anything. I mean, I'm just tired of seeing the same thing over and over again, and I'm sure come the equinox, I'm going to see it again, and I'm going to see it again, probably come the full moon and around the 25th. And I'm sure I'll see it again around Easter, and I'm sure I'll see it again around Orthodox Easter, and, National Hot Dog Day, International Hot Chocolate Day, I mean, whatever day ending in Y is in their books.
Yeah.
So looking forward to seeing the wisdom of all of you, the wisdom of all creation and co-creating with you. We've just got to make the changes ourselves. I mean, I agree with you. There was a time where I thought that, as we went down the food chain, I'm like, surely these people are happy to be free.
It's Stockholm syndrome. You open the gate and they're like, no, I'm just going to stay back here. It's all good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Well, let me know when you got your safety net ready out there and your air mask and your, all the stuff I think I need to get out of this cage right here. I think I'm going to need some disinfectant. I need you to make it completely and totally safe for me to walk out.
Yeah.
Maybe some of them just don't want to change. Maybe they hope things can go back the way that it was. And that's okay too. I hope that they all leave this planet. I have hopes too. Dreams.
Yeah.
Well, that's about what I have for Monday, other than a bunch of crazy stuff that they tried to do over the weekend. I don't even think's worth the air coming out of my mouth. So I'd rather talk about positive things that are happening.
How are we doing on the transfers? Have you done more testing over the weekend?
We did not over the weekend. We did last week, many. So we'll probably do that today, since things seem to be quieted down in my world, other than they're looking for money that they don't have. And I'm sure there'll be a meeting this afternoon around 3:00 Eastern time to talk about why it didn't happen and when the next possible day for it to happen will happen. The Q clock keeps rolling over consistently with a new message of something evil nobody wants. And
oh yeah, you were saying earlier before we started recording something about 3 days of darkness now. They cut it down from 10.
Yeah, they cut it down to 3. And at the time of this recording, I believe it starts in about an hour at 58 minutes or something from now.
Ooh, so
and
scared.
Then when there's no darkness, I'm sure it'll be 3 days of, I don't know, 11 pipers piping, 10 lords leaping, 9 ladies dancing, and then that'll go on for 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever,
Yeah.
And then
do you think, Kim, with the discussion we had last week about the apples, do you feel that was kind of the last, I get nervous about saying the last straw or whatever, but it's like, could there be anything that you've kind of seen on the horizon, anything else big like that? Like you said, they've been searching for a really long time for those apples. And now that that's done, is that kind of the nail in the coffin? Like, are we down to,
please, you can't put common sense into those people's heads. Like, it's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
Is there another day? I'm sure there is. I'm sure of it. Now, I think part of the reason why they thought this new moon was so special was because it was within 10 days of the equinox.
Okay.
The 10 days being more potent than the 30 days before and 30 days after, I guess. In their mind, maybe that's in the book too. I don't know where they get that from. I don't know what's the last. I do not even think, even if we were funding millions of dollars in projects a day, through CARE or something, that would still stop them from reading those books and hoping for a day ending in Y when everything comes back.
Yeah, no, those books are silly. But what I was referring to is more of Source really did bring back the apples. Like, that's a real thing.
Yep.
Is there any, I would just love to know if was that the last thing, the big thing that we were waiting for?
Well, after that happened, then we have holographic universes that operate in the same time frame in other timelines. So that also started happening over the last 48 hours too, as well. So what I'm seeing, and here's the other bit of good news too, is that we're now actually seeing real Earth, unaltered, that type of thing. So these are positive things. Yeah. Do they have any ability to reach into an alternative timeline and make a manipulation of, for example, holographic Earth and cause a problem here? No. But is it out there like candy to a baby? Yeah. Does it need to go away because we're never leaving this time? Yes. So it is fading. So those are positive things for us. Is that going to change their mind? No, I don't think so. Sorry, I just don't. I don't think, I don't know. They'll probably come up with something. I'm sure there's something in that book. Yeah. Some old information where they think it's going to change something, but it's not. Nope. There's a part of me also that would like to see them live with the rest of us, because they don't consider themselves having to live like the rest of us. And just grab a shovel and clean this place up like all the rest of us have to do. Clean up their own mess. I mean, that would be great. Maybe we put them in, some kind of a prison camp somewhere and make them come out and clean the streets and, repave roads with proper materials that don't kill people and cause cancer and all those types of things. I don't even know if I'd trust him with that.
I know. Yeah.
We'll teach them all underwater basket weaving.
Those families have enough money for them to live fine for a while, I'm sure. They just can't carry out the nasty stuff that they want to do to humanity on a larger level. So,
they don't use their own money for things like that either. They've never had to. So, do they have what we would consider money? Some. Because remember, they take money from every single one of those corporations and it goes up the food chain. So it's not like, you can deplete their bank accounts, but that doesn't mean that those corporations are not going to pay their tithe. Yeah. Their protection money, their security money, so are they ever going to run out? Are they ever going to stop paying? Well, when those corporations go down, then they'll stop paying. Will they run out of money eventually? Sure. Of course. Can you take it out of their bank account every single day? Yeah, you can. Yeah. Just like they did to us all those years. But that's not going to stop the corporations from paying. So you have to look at the bigger picture and what do you want to spend your time doing? Do we want to spend our time complaining? I don't. No. I mean, I'm just mitigating loss and mitigating, hits and those types of things that could actually harm humanity. Well, answering the phone and saying, okay, time for the timeline thing. Okay, well, all right, let's do it. What are we going to do? And but on the other side of it, I mean, I'm just excited to even have a little bit of time here and there to, work on creating oil blends and other things that are going to help people go forward and providing alternatives to all the things we buy in the stores. I'm looking at things like that. I'm not really focusing as much on them anymore. I just don't see any. I just don't see it. I really don't, especially after the meetings they had this weekend and the shenanigans they were up to. Nah, no, they're going off the cliff for sure. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll put something that says like key to alpha here, like at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, and make sure that the only way they can get there is to jump. Maybe that'll be it.
Well, then, and people talk a lot about ascension online too, and going to 5D. I've just experienced this, in my own life. the people that no longer resonate with me on a frequency level just fall away.
Yeah.
The relationship, I go this way, they go that way. I wonder if it's just going to be more like that. The more we resonate on source's frequency, the more those people we're not even going to see them. It's just like we can't necessarily, a lot of us can't see 5D, 6D, whatever beings. Maybe that's just what it's going to be. They're here, but not here because we can't see them. They don't impact us, and they're just doing whatever it is they do and wherever they end up. But we're moving forward,
Well, yeah, and everybody else wants to too. And it's still the case of whatever happens here, happens elsewhere. So I feel better as a person creating, things. And having the ability to at least having a little bit of balance that way where I can create and I, have to take this out and that kind of thing, and yes, I have to still listen to their meetings and stuff, but just that small amount of time a day that I have to create new things, makes my whole day.
Yeah.
So, there's some positives that have come out of just letting it go.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's meant to be and if things are meant to change, then maybe source will change it.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that some of those people I have watched go literally crazy in the last few days with the wisdom. They don't want to look at it.
Yeah.
They don't want to stop. Their call.
Yeah.
I know anytime I've ever gone against my intuition, it's never ended well, but that's their call.
Yeah, I agree.
So on that note, that's about all I have to say for Monday.
Okay.
Very quiet, kind of just a little crazy and weekend, and that was about it. And moving on, probably going to be turbulent all the way with those people anyway, until about the 20th, I'm guessing. And then they'll go another round once the full moon happens for the next 10 days. So is it going to affect us? I sure hope not. I think the effects that they're having on us, including myself, are getting less and less and less and less as time goes on.
Good.
So.
All right. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Sunny.